Team Liquid Philippines towards their picks here in the mid lane position. Because usually we see Louis and the Eve getting picked up by Sanji to make out-of-this-world plays or maybe out-of-the-box plays. But that's not going to happen so far.
I wonder if he's willing to play into the Kagura. I think the record for the Kagura not that stellar for Sanji, no wins on it.
Right.
So they save their mid lane pick for later. They pick up the Harith. I wonder if they're gonna go mega greedy sustain and then surprise Angela again at the end of the draft. Because they don't need to get burst anymore. They have the Harith. They're fine with that.
Right.
So
I think for Team Falcons, they tried to do that greedy lineup from game number 1 where it's heavily, lenient towards it. But I get the point. I see the vision here coming in from Team Falcons. If they want to pick off a greedy lineup, they can do that just because of the Alice and the Harith still needing some scaling. Yeah, I felt like that. I think that's the only way for them to be able to stop this.
So what we're going to pick up, you can't go Kaja. Are you forced to play Box or Roam? Then you have a little bit of stop.
Matilda.
Okay, Matilda with the Fred, with the Granger. Okay.
Yeah.
I call this old school, a little bit more old school, the sustain. There needs to be a source of healing and shielding. Oh, it might actually be Angelo for Sanji. If it's not going to be anything offensive like the Selena or the Kagura, you go for defensive and utility. You pick up the Jella. You don't have to worry about an Esmeralda on the side of Falcons. You already see their lineup. An extra Angela means that you get a little bit more sustainability to match the shields that will inevitably be really good for Falcons and terrible for Liquid to go up against if they can't match the sustain. So, they go for damage. They still go for the Lunox that we mentioned earlier. They don't want to match the sustain. They want damage.
A lot of people were pretty much bashing the people who use Angela in the MPL because you give very skilled players a hero that only has a few buttons to press. But with the Lunox, they're gonna go damage. They're gonna try to break through the wall of Kyle TZ and Flap TZ. And together with Ogwen, the Lunox doesn't really care about the shields that will be committed here by the rest of the members of Team Falcons. But for Super Marco, the range finally comes in. He no longer needs to go all out and then further engage with the idea of fighting from the distance. And I think based on the Alice and the Gatot Kacha of Team Liquid Philippines, he's going to have to be really careful about this approach.
Yeah, a lot of crowd control still on the side of Liquid, so it's up to Falcons to not mess this up.
Idea is for Team Falcons to equalize, but TLPH wants to take it. Here are the casters for y'all.
Thank you for the breakdown, Hans and Redmar. Once again, we're about to jump into Game 2 here in this best of 5 between the Clash of the Titans, TLPH, and Team Falcons. It's me, Nyasu, and Leo to bring you the action. And man, I'll tell you what, Game 1 was devastating.
Welcome to Mobile Legends.
But legend has it that when Titans collide, you can't help but get a long series. So Game 1,
that's true.
That was just a taste. I'm here for the whole course.
Okay. All right. I want to believe it too, man. We're sitting at the table for this one. I will say this, though. Looking at the emblem breakdown, looking at the lineup that Team Falcons brought to Game 2, I share the same sentiments with what our panelists said here. One of the great things is the utility they have. They have Matilda locked in. This is much better for Super Marco. He's now got the Granger, so he's got some range to work with.
And the telltale sign that you respect what your opponents brought in Game 1, look at the absurd amount of purifies.
I was going to say.
I'm pretty sure if Flap TZ wasn't on an Arlet, he might have also rocked like a Purify if he was like a CC or something.
It is a 4-man Purify,
Right? Yeah, because again, you can't put a Purify in your jungler. But that just shows you how important crowd control is to Team Liquid Philippines' MO is. When they go into a match, they want to make sure that they don't just have damage. They have ways to dish out that damage efficiently. So you want crowd control, which they still have now in spades.
And that's why I think, the Team Falcons took what happened to them in Game 1, and they're like, we're going to go in better prepared for it. So what better way to do that than have a Matilda with you in the hands of Ogun, which can help you be a little more versatile and mobile.
Which I think is an answer to Liquid's, I guess, less crowd control centric lineup. Upon further evaluation, it's more damage now.
Magic damage.
Even Renmar, I saw drool a little bit, was like, ooh, still the Lunox, really? because that is such a specific choice to make. That's a decision that they made in tandem with their coaches, Coach RC and Coach Tic Tac. Sanford here going to the back line, throws out that shadow. Ruin, no one home. Few less than half health as Carl just wails away at the turtle, securing it. JP still alive. Revitalize AOG on out. The brilliance in. Final slash by the Filipino cannon. Sanji falls. So does JP. Falcons clap back.
Oh, they clap back. They do give up that turtle, one in the hands of Carl Tizzi, but good pickups here. Grabbing a couple of kills to put him on the board for Team Falcons. A much better start. And I gotta say, a much better start just for Flap alone, man. Remember, he struggled on the Alice in game one. Well, now he's got a double early kill on this Arlot, who's going to be very important for them as they get through this game.
Already you can see how different Liquid's play is when they have less crowd control. They were playing on a clock there. They were counting the moments when they could get away with a turtle take, but Flap wasn't having any of it. They punished him hard for overstaying, because what are you going to do with an angry Arlot on you, man? Like, he is going to just sustain through the damage you were dishing out, especially in the early game.
Yeah, now he's got the Fury Hammer off of that, so a little bit of extra damage and that penetration to go in and help him. So now, if they wait even for the next objective or they try to set something up in one of these lanes, Flap alone is going to be somewhat of a threat. Again, that fight was started off from Sanford deciding to go in on the Alice, popping that Throne of Ruin, and not be able to really catch anything. It was a delayed kind of counter punch, really, from Team Falcons to make it work there. So a great setup. It gives them a very minor lead to go ahead and work with. And mind you, they didn't even really have to use much of their utility. You know, they didn't have to pop all their purifies or anything like that. It's like they backed away from the game plan of TLPH.
Nope.
And they responded accordingly.
Yep, they were very much aware of the turn. They planned for that. And that puts them up 1,000 gold. Liquid now trying to push him back out of their side of the jungle. Kyle Tizzi bullying his way towards a small camp steal.
Yep.
Kyle Tizzi asserting himself. Traction falls thrown out by Few. There's a taunt by Kyle Tizzi. JP accepts a good chunk of damage from Few with half health.
Okay, again, though, a lot. I mean, if that traction pulse was used, it's more like if we could get something, great. If not, that's fine. Flask of the Oasis now picked up here, too, for Ogwin. And the second fight for this turtle, the second turtle of the game is going to be fought for. They're going to go and set things up. Sanford trying to be up that front again. He pops a Throne of Ruin, goes in. Oh.
Dashes on through, but answered by another final slash. Kyle Tizzi secures a turtle.
Oh.
They're fighting back. Kyle Tizzi goes down. There's a Zaman force. Oheb pushing them back. Now goes Flap. And just like that, Liquid are in the driver's seat. 2 free kills plus a major objective.
They just dissipated that little minor lead, about 1K that Team Falcons had. They got themselves the second turtle. So TLPH will find an answer, and they're going to be looking to take a little bit more if they can here. So Carl Tizzi won't be able to grab that buff, but that was a big swing in favor of TLPH from letting things back into the balance, you know, from letting it not slip out for Team Falcons.
And what's dangerous, Joseph, is the fact that they changed nothing about their approach.
It was the same.
Literally the same thing. Oh, we're going to blitz down the turtle and then clap back when we can.
Yeah.
I think they were just checking ranging in the first engagement. And now they know better what Falcons is capable of. They know what Flap Tizzi is willing to do and are able to sidestep. Exactly. That's it. A missed final slash.
Missed final slash. And you know how many times that TLPH, they're always like that, man. They might, you know, kind of get caught in the early game, but when something like that happens, like a big team fight like that happens, they're able to go ahead and adjust very quickly.
Uh-oh, they catch Sanji. Kenny Brilliance out just in the nick of time, gets it, doesn't spend the flicker. A close call for the chef.
Great for him to keep on to the flicker, too. I was almost half expecting him to use it, but knowing the limitations here, once again, TLPH will go ahead and just set things up 30 seconds away from this turtle. You can already see, too, once the items were coming into place, they've already got those first items being locked in. Oheb, too, could be a problem here if they just let him have his day here.
All right, by dropping the Zaman Force, he does chunk that turret down to half health. TLPH, amazing map control with the small window of opportunity they got to snap themselves into 1,000 gold lead approaching.
Yep.
This is a good look for them going into Turtle 3.
It's funny, man. It's literally what we saw for after Turtle 1 for Team Falcons. Now it's the case for TLPH. So we'll see if Team Falcons has an adjustment themselves. Again, they've got so many kind of ways to cover down with the crowd control, with the purifies here. So we'll see if they can actually take the last turtle of the game for them. Flap's going to be able to jump in, but it's Sanford leading that charge again. What can they do here? Traction pulse thrown out too. They're going to go.
AOG coming in. Daddy JP, all eyes on him. Zaman Force. thrown out as well. 3 go just as quickly. Few is up next, didn't even get the purifiers. Marco falls. Baby Cakes doing work. Ooh la la.
And that was a stampede if I've ever seen one. TLPH just completely wrecked Team Falcons in that last turtle fight. It looked like nothing was going well for them, even though they burned the purifiers and everything else. Few didn't get the time to do it, but man, it just seemed like they didn't stand a chance in that team fight.
It's a swing and a miss. You mid-block a low sweep by purifying into a lineup that has so much damage and just the right amount of CC to get it in. One more look at it, and
look at this.
I think Liquid just moved too fast that Falcons wasn't sure if, should we go for the turn of the steal? Turn of the steal, and it was too late.
It was a complete, like that is a stampede, man. That's what I'm saying. Like it looked like Team Falcons wasn't sure what they wanted to do in that team fight. And TLPH was like, we don't want to give them that opportunity to even think about it. We're just going to go.
It's an identity crisis on the first date. Like, who am I?
Who are you? You know, and by the time you don't even realize it, the date's done.
What do you want for dessert? Who am I?
I'm back at home, man, you know? I'll tell you what, though, TLPH, it took them a little bit longer to get to this point, but it's more or less the same of what happened in Game 1. They've now got themselves a good, comfortable lead. They've got a couple items, you know, each member here. And you almost, I think this is going to be Holy Crystal for Oheb. Oheb has been nearly untouched. I mean, he's 3-0-2. I don't know if he's even used the Purify much.
And that is a missed opportunity. Oh, no. Oh, no. Liquid. Bear down on a few once more. Force him back. Kyle Teasy just acting as the shield for Falcons as another thrown of Rowan. Puts him down to half health. He's backing up. Down goes Flap. Flap sacrificed himself so the rest of Falcons can back off.
Again, how many times can you do this? You know, how many times can you take the punishment if you're Flap Teasy here? He had such a good start in this game, too. The double kill off in the early game, but now he's, you know, and you can't blame him. That's kind of his job. He's got to force himself into these situations where he's trying to get a final slash off to give them an advantage.
You know what the hard truth is? Even if this went extremely well for Flap, he's not the one Falcons want to succeed. They want to put money on Few. They want to put money on Marco. And that's not even happening.
It's crazy how different even this Alice is working for TLPH in the previous game, man. And it's, Sanford's not doing anything fancy. He's just pretty much like, he hasn't died, that's one thing, but he's utilizing that Flicker and that Throne of Ruin combo really, really well. That's zoning out Team Falcons. And, you know, trying to put the money on the right heroes here, on the right members, is that much more difficult when you got Sanford up in the front of it all.
But looking at how Falcons is reacting to it, they have 3 Purifies.
Yeah.
So what 40 is doing is essentially canceling and negating these Purifies. Which
like
in turn,
giving a Purify.
Yeah, like baiting a Purify, exactly.
Yeah.
So, again, he just becomes a sexier Uranus. He's just literally standing around them, waltzing around, forcing a response so the rest of Liquid can dish out the damage.
Yeah, I definitely choose Alice any day over the Uranus, you know? That's going to be the case for, I think, a lot of the teams here throughout the playoffs. It was already the case for the end of the regular season, and now we're seeing in the hands of TLPH. Oh, they're just limit testing here for Carl TZ. Again, wanting to get these shields, the Lord is going to go ahead and walk up on the top side. We'll get this Holy Shield down up top. TLPH finding themselves again with a massive lead now at this point, almost 10,000, nearing that 9,000 mark. Tier 2 turrets will fall, and these shields being held onto for Team Falcons. So they're going to have to figure something out quick here, Leo.
They held on to that mid lane inhibitor. The shield there is going to stand for 1 more minute. That's wise for Falcons. I think they did the right thing. Because imagine if you even lost that resource. Imagine just by not touching that siege minion, you would have flubbed and got a free wave clear. Falcons are still in this. I think Falcons are still locked in. I'm thinking of ways that they could clap back. At least number 1, Marco isn't exactly starving. There is some resources coming into this Granger. Flap Easy, we talked about this so many times. You can miss 99% of your final slashes, but if inside your base you can wipe them out with that last one.
It's that one.
It's that one.
Yeah, that one can change the course of the game.
So Cope is alive.
The Cope is alive, but I think in order for it to actually become a threat, they're going to have to get that, you know, the gold and the items over here on Super Marco especially, because yeah, crowd control-wise, you got that covered for Team Falcons. You got a lot of utility. You got to be able to go ahead and capitalize on that. And who is going to be doing that? Super Marco. and he's just not there yet. He was about 2,000 gold behind Oheb. So I think if you're looking at Team Falcons on how they can go ahead and maintain themselves into this game, it's really buying enough time to get Super Marco to the point where he needs to be. We've seen him do it before, man.
Yep.
So you can't count them out completely, even though this is a massive lead right now for TLPH, and they're taking just about everything they want.
It's not impossible. Team Falcons and Team Liquid PH right now, because of this 10,000, 11,000 gold lead, are playing their own little sadistic version of Pac-Man. One of them is dodging, while the other is just moving around, trying to get resources and score up and close that gap. Liquid are doing this very, very disgustingly. Despite the Matilda on the other side, Liquid are so mobile. Again, you have that Gleam, you have a Lancelot that can dash on through, you have an AOG, you have a Gatot Kacha that can go, what, from point to point, little corners of the map.
Yeah, and he's, like, look at him. JP will just post up, and he can get out that way, too. So Lord's already secured. They might force a fight.
Throne of Ruin, 540, and they're engaging. They do get that engagement underneath that orange. Salmon Force, not a good look for Liquid to overextend. Falcons back off.
They do. They're going to go ahead and disengage from that, but that was all to get this Lord. Good thing, I will say this, Team Falcons held on to the Purifies. Yeah, a Flicker was burned in that exchange. Flap doesn't have that, but they've got the Purifies ready. They have a little bit of time to go ahead and prep up for this Lord push up top. And Team Falcons, if you really look at this lineup, oh no, are they going to try to make a play? Okay, they did. Ogun did punch forward with that circling eagle, but they've got enough time to reset here and get ready for this base defense.
Interesting pivot.
Yeah.
Suddenly turning over to Sanji when he was expecting to turn on Carl DZ.
Yeah.
But I guess they were just buying time, because look, Falcons are forced to Ube to even respond to anything Liquid is throwing their way. They do eventually get to this Lord. JP with the AOG, fighting underneath this tier 3. Not a good look. JP falls.
Oh, they're going to be able to go. Now Sanji in trouble, takes a shot himself, but Carl, they just want that turret. That's all they're going to be able to get.
2 for 1. Inhibitor falls in mid. Now Kyle, underneath Carl's blade, gets taken down about half health as they dodge on through. The taunt catches Carl. The Phantom Execution out.
Oh, and that gave him enough space. Oheb was there to back him up with the Zaman Force, but it looks like that's all they'll get. That's why I'm saying Team Falcons, man, imagine they're down 11,000 gold, but they actually were able to go ahead and defend into that. That base turret up top didn't go down.
It was a 6v5, Joseph.
Yeah.
Lord fell even before Liquid knew that this was a real fight. And it was a matter of, let's just get that mid lane inhibitor. Since Falcon is forced to play together, they can't clear that wave. Liquid just decided we are collateral damage.
Yep.
JP falling, who else died? Sanji falling.
Yeah.
Like, that was the necessary trade for that mid lane inhibitor to fall.
And that's, I think, is that just going to be one of the cases because of the lineup that they have where it's like, they have to throw some bodies at this lineup that Team Falcon has just to get some of these inhibitor turrets down.
I'm guessing it is a one-time sacrifice, a one-time payment. It's not a subscription, Joseph.
Just one time.
Yep, you literally,
Lifetime.
you do that, it's lifetime. Yeah, you have access to it all the time because they have access to that mid lane all the time.
Mid lane now. Oh, Sanford does jump in with a Gleam, but again, you got to start respecting what this lineup from Team Falcons can do. I think even in a sense, you already saw the preview of damage that they're able to pump out if TLPH somehow overextends. Looking at the items though too, Super Marco, he's still, 1,000 plus gold behind Oheb, but you look at the items he's got, he's in a fighting position now on the Granger.
He is, but it's not optimal. He has, what, 2 stacks on that Sky Piercer?
Yeah, not much.
All the while, Oheb is up, yes, 1,000 and change, but he hasn't even built his full arsenal yet. So that means he's going for the most expensive version of a gold lane mage.
Yeah, he might as well. Again,
He's got a power spike incoming still.
He's still got it. No.
Oh, they dropped the Zaman Force underneath Kyle T. Traction falls thrown out. AOG from Daddy JP. And an Abrasive Wrap. Not enough to keep Kyle alive. Look at the back line. Sanji finds Few. And that'll be 2 for free. Liquid chasing down Daddy Ogwin. Who's your daddy? So far, JP is lording over all of Falcons as Sanji bites it. 2 for 1, the trade.
That was an interesting trade, too. I know Sanji went down. He was there to zone out Super Marco into the base. This might give an angle for TLPH to get another turret. I'm not sure if they can end it, though. They might push for it.
Uh-oh. Carl DZ underneath. Flap DZ doing his darndest to clear the wave. Divert attention away from TLPH, ending the game. OHEB finds Super Marco. 7-4 underneath the base. Left easy up next, and there's just the base left. Waves are crashing in as Liquid smell match point just mere inches away. The base gets cracked. The Cavalry March 4th 2-0.
Another strong game for TLPH. Can't wait to hear what the panel has to say about this one. Let's go ahead and throw it over to them to break down game number 2.
All you gotta know, boys, is that the Cavalry means business. And when I say business, it's tough, serious business. They're richer than me when I was in college. That's how big of a lead they've had in gold, and that is Team Liquid Philippines at match point.
I don't get why Team Falcons seem to be hell-bent and wanting to play lineups that want longer team fights. They're allowing Team Liquid Philippines to play fast, to play high damage, to play quick. It seems like Falcons are looking at this with a more defensive mindset. Where's the killer instinct in the Falcons that want to take control, that eventually made the climb into the playoffs after suffering for majority of the season? While Liquid are just re-injecting into their veins what being part of Team Liquid actually means. Playing fast, playing decisive, playing with hella damage, and just showing off your mechanical prowess. Yes, you can see from the first turtle fight that Falcons, the vision of them wanting to play for a counter is executable. But then once you get into Turtle 2, Turtle 3, if you cannot get a big win before that main sequence, and then Team Liquid Philippines continues to fight even more, and the Harith is left unchecked, you're not gonna beat the damage that Liquid are gonna dish out. Falcons, they picked the Super Marco Granger into the last. That's another MVP performance for OHEB, and easily. Because he was aggressive at the right time. He went forward and went aggro at the right time, catching Team Falcons off guard. I don't know what they're doing trying to play for longer team fights, man. That's not how you play against Liquid.
I mean, we saw some glimpses of greatness coming in from Team Falcons right from the start of that first turtle take, because they were able to at least get some explosive plays to happen courtesy of Flapteasy, and I thought things were going well for them back then. But they went back to the reactive kinds of Team Falcons that continued to put them at a bottomless pit where they cannot find a way to be able to execute. And that is the idea that they want to do here in game number 2. But Team Liquid, knowing the idea, the lineup that they had in mind, they had the Lunox, sure. They even had the Harith, who you would expect to be able to at least scale during the middle to the later portions of our game. But that didn't matter anymore because Carl TC was so fed pretty quickly. And you saw them right there. If you're Filipino, you basically understand. Or if you have a Filipino friend, you probably understand that too. But it's just the mentality of, you know, Team Liquid Philippines. They know that they are capable of finishing them off in one major clash that could depict the rest of the game here in game number 2.
Yeah, you can see here in every team fight, look, Sanji left unchecked. He's just going to go around the back. Yeah, they can sustain, they can hold, but then once that Lunox shows up, what are you going to do? Just darkness in, chaos assault, not much. So one of the suggested picks that we thought that Liquid might want to lead to is to match sustain for sustain. Go for the Angela in the mid. In the first objective team fight, I was saying behind the scenes that, oh, maybe the Angela could have done better there and they could have countered the engage that Falcons brought out. But then Turtle 2 onwards is when we started saying, so when Falcons wants to try and pick Sanji off, but then they don't get Sanji and he just gets the Brilliance out, in comes OHEB, in comes the Lancelot. And so now the resources that you wasted trying to take down that Lunox was already spent. You have no resources anymore to take down the Harith. Liquid, they are doubling down on their key idea heading to this playoff, going up against Falcons. They're playing fast, they're playing aggressive, while Falcons, they're too defensive-minded at this point.
They understand the concept of a front-to-back composition. I have to say that OHEB sure is the MVP of the game just because he dealt so much damage, but you also have to give props to Sanford and to JP, man. They were at the right place at the right time, doing their jobs in a spectacular manner. Gatot Kacha and the Alice were key problems for even Flapteasy in trying to set up, because I think during the first 2 minutes or first 3 minutes, it was a battle of setups between the EXP laners and the roamers. And for Ogwen, he was trying to speed up the tempo of this game. Sure, with the Matilda and the guiding wind. But unfortunately for them, the major crowd control skills and the major playmakers weren't on their side. It was on the side of Team Liquid Philippines because Sanford has more area to cover. JP has also more area to cover, and that enabled OHEB to scale. Carl Tizzy to even scale as well. I was asking you a while ago on whether or not, because usually you would see Alice and even, you know, a Harith scale up later in the later portions of the game, and you won't see them provide enough impact in the first early minutes. But that changed because of how well Team Liquid Philippines has scaled all over this game.
Yeah, well, the undeniable truth of this current metagame is just more damage wins. For majority of the history of global MLBB, it was the longer, better, cleaner team fight wins. Now it's just, bro, you can afford to build up a lineup that just dives in front of all of your opponents, bombards them with damage, and then you're just gonna win. With Falcons, there was something that I mentioned in the draft. It was an old school approach. To double down a little bit more, it just felt dated. Seeing the Mathilda, the Fredrin, the Kimmy, Arlong, and the Granger. The Granger was picked last alongside the Mathilda on the blue side. Well, then Falcons, they could have gone for a more old school approach, but then they brought out the Lunox instead for the raw damage to pair it up with the Lancelot. And yes, you can say that the Gacha, you think of him as a hard tank. You think of him as a stain, a tank that picks up the Revitalize to not only drag out the fight even longer for his team, but then also heal his teammates. But we know that Gacha is one of those heroes that the longer a team fight goes, the more damage he can dish out, actually with enhanced basic attacks coming out of him. And they decided to double down on more damage for Gatot, for the mid laner, for the gold laner. They had an overload of magic, but it was okay because the Granger took too much time.
And he also
I don't know why I came out like that.
Time.
Yeah, I don't know why I came out like that.
Yeah, I think Enigma was pretty proud on.
I think I was a little bit too passionate on that.
You know, and then in addition to what you said, I felt like there was slight of a problem with the Kimmy pick for me personally, because JB was just standing on business on wherever the bullets are going to be appearing towards the Kimmy, and he was defending, scaling on it so well that there wasn't enough damage coming in from the side of Team Falcons, where initially there was supposed to be enough damage, and that created a lot of problems for Team Falcons because they weren't enough to at least burst one hero down. Just in case they were able to at least burn down the Alice, who continues to escape, because Sanford, as sly as he is, he has always been an escape artist in game number 2. And for JP, that has always been the scenario for him, just looking for the potential angle where he can put a stop to the damage that was brought about by Super Marco and Few, and let the others dish out the damage. That's where Carl TC steps in and kills all of them.
Yeah, I think heading into the playoffs, we got to see where these two teams are at. Usually when we say a team is playing to win and the other team's playing to lose, you could see it in the drafts. You can see how they execute it. Team Falcons, they are looking to counter. Team Liquid, they are looking to put their foot in the gas and just go, 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 and it's working out well for them. Despite the Turtle one, them taking it and then getting countered, they understand that they're going to get a bigger win elsewhere because of the raw damage that they have once they head into Turtle 2 and Turtle 3. Similar was the scenario for game number 1, except in game number 1, it's a different story.
Right.
They could actually afford to go already by Turtle 1, and that's exactly what we saw. Falcons, it looks like with the drafts that they showed and how they're playing the first 2 games, they weren't completely ready for the sudden evolution that Liquid showed up with heading into this playoffs.
They were absolutely ready. They were out for blood, this Team Liquid Philippines squad. As you're looking at the head-to-head between the jungle matchup that we have here, it's Calteezy and Carl TZ. And if you look at it, a lot of rights go to the KDA, the Gold, the EXP, and the KP. And the only thing that is right over there is the KDA at 5 minutes. 2 in favor of Kyle Casey. That's the only stat that he has an advantage on.
I think they really need to change their approach through the center of the map because, yes, they put Kyle Casey on the Fredrin. It's paired up with the Arlot. That's the usual combination. But Fredrin and Arlot shine with even more burst damage paired up with them. But then they decided to pair it up with the Kimmy at the center of the map, which is longer sustained damage. Yes, she hurts. Yes, she'll have the space, hypothetically. But then compared to the raw damage output of a Lunox, who early on, before you get the Flask of the Oasis and all of the shields getting pumped out by the the Mathilda, the damage of the Lunox will actually tear through your lineup. So they really need to readjust wherein, okay, you want to go a certain way, but then you're always lacking one little thing, whether it's in the gold laner, whether it's in your damage profile through the center of the map. And if I'm Falcons, that's where I'm going to have to look at and rechange the focus. You take the Kimmy out of the hands of Few, give Few something else. Give Few that can deal more damage.
You know what? You're right. They have a pretty tight window, right? If we're talking about Team Falcons. But for our fans that are right over here at the Cuneta Astrodome, you can power up your Dander Freeze Scalp supercharged with Clear. And in the thousands of people who are here, usually when we're back into the regular season, we can just talk about 100. But our cameraman and production crew probably had a difficult time trying to figure out who the best Clearhead super fan of the day is, and it's you, my guy. Congratulations. You got some pretty good looking shampoo heading home. And man, I'm telling you right now, his hair's looking pretty good.
It's raining outside right now, so if he wants to hop into the rain, take a quick shower, use that Clear, you know?
Yeah.
He already looks fresh. Why not look even fresher?
You know what? For all of the people who are watching, you guys should do that. You know, like try to go outside whenever it rains. Bring a Clear shampoo with you. Put a tripod right in the middle. You know what? I'm gonna get it right now. Like you do this, and then after that, you just rinse.
You're encouraging people to take a shower in the rain with Clear now.
Yeah, dude, because like that gives a lot more cinematic flair to it.
This isn't an early 2000s R&B music video that you could just do that.
This is not Chris Brown?
This ain't Chris Brown or anyone else. This ain't Usher.
Thanks, Tripod. You have done your business. I tried to prove a point, but you'll stay in a shaded area.
Yeah.
Okay, so I got you. But for you guys as well, if you want to stay in your showers, why am I even talking about that, dude? I'm just gonna get back into this matchup right over here. TLPH already at match point, showing some swag against Team Falcons. And from the looks of it, they are looking to be part of this scenario. The M7 pictures so far, there's still not a lot of certainties between a lot of the others here, except for Team Falcons, who has Boyet and is now a Filipino import that is part of the M7 World Championship.
Yeah, the first team to qualify for M7 in Jakarta, Indonesia, Team Falcons from the MPL MENA region. We're going to be seeing MPL ID, MPL MY later down the line. Of course, MPL ID up next in the docket right after the MPL Philippines playoffs, just 3 days after the action in Jakarta, Indonesia begins, where Onyx ID are leading the charge heading to the playoffs, but Bigatron by Vitality got an iconic win against them in Week 8, day number 2. While MPL Malaysia still looks like it's an SRG OG-led league.
Man, I saw the dates. I was looking at the dates while you were telling us about the teams that have qualified, and we're looking at matches or playoffs that will start at the 13th of November.
Yeah.
That's how much more MLBB is outside of the Philippines. So for everybody who's watching this, man, there's a lot of MLBB action that you're going to have to watch out for, because I am sure as hell that I'll be watching at the comfort of my own home, maybe together with Redmar as we...
Why would I be in your house?
Why not? We're at Wolf's house. You know what?
Sure,
Wolf's house. Yeah, that's fair.
Okay.
He accepts visitors there. Yeah. I don't know if
you've never invited us over to your place. So
no, yeah, but like
let's go for your place.
I don't know if we'll make enough noise for me to get kicked out. So
wait, you want us to make enough noise for you to get kicked out?
No, not really. That's not what I'm saying. I'm trying to like structure it in a sense that I don't want to get kicked out. But it's quite inevitable.
I get you.
That we get kicked out. Like remember when Wolf got like a noise complaint warning? Yeah, Wolf. We're talking trash about you because you're at Filipino broadcast.
Yeah,
anyway,
it's not talking trash. We're stating facts. It actually happened.
You know what? That's true. That's true. Ask Naisu later at when he's back at the desk. But hey. Ooh, you're looking at some smiles now from Carl TZ. Just a while ago, you know, he had a very serious aura given towards him. But I think for Team Liquid Philippines, they want to break the curse of not making it into the second round of playoffs in the even-numbered seasons. We're looking at 10, 12, and 14. But for Master Ogwin, this is his last hurrah. every single game from here on out is gonna matter. It's a do or die matchup. And when he's holding to that Franco, Kaja, and Hilda, he can make it happen, but none are given to him in the past 2 games.
Yeah, the second phase ban on the Hilda of Master Ogren is actually brilliant by Team Liquid Philippines. One of the heroes that we posed, we thought he'd pick up something a little bit more annoying. It was blocked right away. The Matilda could have been annoying, but then Liquid just met it with some damage. So I'm going to double down on what I was saying earlier. Falcons need to stop playing the Kimmy, and then just pick up something like the Farsa if you can for a few. Just get it on his hands already, if it's possible. But then if you look at the bans for Liquid, game number 1, they were on the blue side, they banned out the Farsa.
Right.
Game number 2, they banned out the Farsa as well. So it seems like Liquid have already doubled down on that idea that they really do not want to give that Farsa to few. So what else then do you have outside of the Kimmy? In terms, or outside of the Farsa in terms of the burst? Looking back into Few's hero pool, Farsa is his most successful. After that is the Juice In. But it goes against what we were saying about having a little bit more damage. It seems like playing the Selena for the hands of Few is out of the question. If they are gonna go into this with the mindset of they don't wanna, if they wanna play safer, you don't wanna pick up actually a very high risk pick into the Selena. Then you go down into the Kagura. But then Kagura has also been reduced to the totem pole. So more so than looking at it at Falcons, actually choosing something that's detrimental for them, it's Team Liquid doing a way better job of blocking the best possible thing that Falcons can go for.
Yeah, I mean, if you're Team Falcons, I think you're just gonna have to pick your poison at this point. This could potentially be your last game if you don't get to win this victory. Team Liquid Philippines are looking to put all the stops, putting all the clips on the Falcons' wings, and this could end right over here. So if there's a better way for you to risk, now is the perfect time to do so. But we're changing things up. We're going with Flying Clouds now, which, by the way, in terms of statistics, is where Team Falcons remains undefeated. So that could potentially or possibly even give them a little bit more hope, if there is still any, for the Green Falcons.
Yeah, but now that with ending up in Flying Clouds, there's a pick that Sanford picks up that comes as a big surprise to the teams that have gone up against it and has done well for him, and that's the glue. And then as we all know, when you're playing in Flying Clouds, you're willing to pick up the slower moving EXP laners, because even if you maybe somehow miraculously get brought down really low by your opponents and you have to recall, you're okay, because you have the clouds to fly back in very quickly. So let's see if they're going to be leaning into that, or Liquid are just going to go one more time, double down on the damage. And speaking of, once again, they deny Few of the Farsa that is sorely missed by Falcons right now.
The walking legend is a marked man all throughout the last 3 games. The Farsa, no. Not even the Zushin. There was a time, I believe, in game number 1 where the Zushin wasn't really contested at all because they were prioritizing other mid laners. But in this moment, considering that you're right, they're picking more, they have a chance of picking down the slower heroes, and there it goes. Team Falcons picking up the Yi Sun-shin. Quite an early pickup, if I would say, given that there are still a lot of options available.
Yeah, do teams no longer want to pick up the Wanwan as the first pick? Why? Because CC was banned out. CC's, actually no, CC's like the soft response to the Harith gold lane. So they go YSS. They get Kyle TZ on the hero that allowed them to climb in the playoffs. But that YSS was paired up with the Farsa. So are you going to pair it up with another artillery mage? Are you going to maybe potentially go for an Eve? But then I don't see a scenario where that would be okay for them right now. Are you going to be stuck on a Kimmy yet again? Will you save the Few pick for later? Because now with Falcons having the Yi Sun-shin in the jungle,
Right.
with the high loss fronting, they might want to open the possibility of them picking up a Cho later on. They get the Uranus for Flap TZ, so they're just doubling down on comfort at this point. Some of their best picks their season, Uranus for Flap, YSS for Kyle.
This is gonna go back to the recent gameplay that they've had before, where Flap TZ's role is to just be annoying. And the more annoying Flap TZ is, the better the chances for Team Falcons to win. That is what they're currently banking on, just based on the 3 picks. But another Kimmy pick for Few this time around, so they would want to really build up on the comfort. You're right, based on what you're talking to us about, Team Falcons heavily leaning on towards the comfort that they've had for the past few weeks already during the regular season. But for Team Liquid Philippines, who no longer has, you know, both the Gatot Kacha and the Kalea, it makes a lot of sense that the Hylos was picked up early just so they wouldn't have a lot of problems. But for Ogwen, you still have the Grok, but it could potentially be a very difficult scenario. So the Alice is the final pick up. Sanford is gonna try to at least give a lot more problems to the Uranus. And a lot, you know, I think it was Leo who told the broadcast this, that Alice is a sexier Uranus.
Yes.
Did I get that right?
In terms of function, I believe is what he wanted to imply.
You know what? I hope so. I hope so. He's probably going to clear that up later.
Let's see if the Alice... I think at this point, the Alice is just going to do good no matter what happens. I'm heavily leaning towards the possibility that we're just going to see Falcons get swept and Liquid's going to advance into the next round. But let's see if there can be surprises thrown out. You take out Ogwen's pick with a lack of burst. They're gonna need to pick something up really good for Marco. They're gonna need strong burst. I wouldn't even want to see them consider something like a Moskov as their typical thing. Takes a bit too much time. Granger, Kimmy together again. You know, maybe should be okay, but you don't see the mid laner of Sanji. They could easily just pick up the Lunox one more time and just go burst. That's another revitalize roamer for JP, so they'll be able to sustain. Maybe the first ones, they get countered. So I like they're reducing to the burst that Liquid could potentially go for. They take out the Lunox, they take out the Harith, so now you're gonna have to see Team Liquid settle with something else.
You know, there's a slight limit towards the total damage output that Team Liquid Philippines can produce here. Compared to the first two games, we saw that raised in an exponential level for the Cavalry. Meanwhile, for Team Falcons, it's the usual routine for the bands of DLPH. Just take out Ogwen's heroes and also take out Fuse heroes. And that has been the process for victory, so that no matter what Super Marco's hero is going to be, we're going to be sure that we can at least box him out, not get that upscaling, and put Oheb in a position where he can actually win. And speaking of box, there goes the real-world manipulation that's gonna slow everything down in Sanji's tracks.
What sucks here is even if you pick up the no, you can't even pick up the Valentina anymore because you already showed the Kimmy. What a pain in the ass for Falcons. Eve, Alice, Lancelot, Hylos. It really just looks like Liquid could just run over Falcons right now unless they can somehow make a pick-off burst work.
Yeah, they have an ace up their sleeve, given that they're being backed into the corner so much from the draft alone here of Team Liquid Philippines. Team Falcons is going to need something here. Although a silver lining, I would say, would be the Uranus of Flap TZ staying alive. There you go. The Bane and the Khalid.
All right. And then right away, right away they just knew that they wanted to pick the Granger no matter what Falcons decided to go for here. This could be really tough. It's Clouds, not Rivers, but let's see if Super Marco is going to get a quick rotation. Turtle 1 or Turtle 2 to join in, and then Falcons will build the lead through there, because if Falcons are not proactive, if Falcons are looking to play defensive and counter-punish, the Liquid will stampede over the Falcons and advance into the next round of the playoffs.
TLPH says that the stampede is inevitable, but the wings of the Falcons are still flying for the third time around. An annoying hero for Flap TZ, comfort for Kyle TZ that landed them into this point of the competition. Will this be it, or will we see something else from the greener side of things? Here are your casters, Nice and Leo. Take it away.
The Falcons' wings might be clipped. Can they gain a flight and get a game under their belt to extend the series here, or will Team Liquid Philippines stampede all over the dreams of Team Falcons? We're going to find out. We jump to Lambda once again, everybody. I'm Naisu, and this is Leo to bring you Game 3 of this best of 5. And man, oh man, has it looked bad for Team Falcons so far.
They need an updraft. They need a little bit of a breeze. And I think the speed that this draft they got in Game 3 might serve that up. Very sustainable in the gold lane. That Bane, the Khalid and Ogwen. Fuse been holding on to this. And come on, it's old versus new. Uranus versus a sexier Uranus.
Oh, we mentioned earlier it's a cosplay battle, man. But this time around, I got to say, I want to lean towards, I'm happier that Flap went with the Uranus.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, because like
simpler wins?
I think that might be the case for Flap, man. Ogwen? Yeah, he's going to get away. But, like, I think he needs that because the Alice in Game 1 was not it. He tried to do things on the Arlott in Game 2, had a little bit of success, but now you put a Uranus in the hands of Flap. I feel like this might be an opportunity for him to go ahead and just do what he needs to do and be that upfront guy to then give space to Super Marco to shine on this Bane here. Maybe that's a part of it.
Those bespectacled gentlemen up in the higher benches did mention that if you put a hero like Uranus on Flap Teasy, you kind of buy time and space for the other half of the map so Marco can farm. Now Ogwin here put down an inch away from his death, didn't even bother to flicker. He's like, I know you can't kill me.
Which is surprising because I think given the situation, I almost expected him to flicker there. Again, he still has the quicksand guard, so that's going to be fine. But also, mind you, we are on a turtle, though. This might bring into a fight. They're going to jump in.
Mount Shocker already thrown out that boat. Real world manipulation coming in. Carl Deasy secures. And they can get out of dodge, but no! They force the engage. Sanford gleams on out of here. I think Ogwin and Flap want more. Liquid ain't giving any.
Yeah, no, there's good zoning there. Oheb in trouble. Whoa!
Did not see him coming. Oheb thought he could fight back, but instead, Marco flickers in and spits on that thing.
He shaked that thing.
He shaked it.
Man, the Bane. We were wondering if it's going to pop up. It pops up here in Game 3. And this is a great thing that Team Falcons need in order to go ahead and get themselves in a position. They might be relying on everybody's favorite gold lane hero right now, Bane.
He's been my favorite hero for about half a decade now.
Yeah, that's true.
And what makes it so good is, sure, Liquid got a turtle, but Falcons got the best target, the gold laner. They took down Oheb.
Yeah, they did. And that's a great way to go ahead and stop him from getting the leads he's had the previous 2 games. Now, it's not anything big. You can see this here. It looks like, is Super Mario just going to rush the Holy Crystal?
Yes.
Just get that damage.
That's what you do.
Get that Deadliest Catch and get that heal.
If you're not in any immediate danger, you just greed out and say, I'm just going to go for the Holy Crystal. What are you going to do about it?
Oh, man, that's a scary thing to think about, you know, of TLPH. But, again, we have to see if Team Falcons can maintain that kind of pressure, man. Like, they got to be able to utilize that. And, you know, if you think about it, that would be a great setup utilizing the Khalid they brought to this game. If Ogwin can actually get a setup that he's looking for, because, again, in Game 2 with the Matilda, he wasn't really able to do that. You know, a lot of the times they were just collapsed down on, they had to get disengaged, but with the Khalid, I think it's a different story. The panel even said, give him a hero that can be annoying. Well, I think this is one of the heroes other than the Hilda that was banned out to be that hero for Ogwin.
All right, Few catches Carl Deasy on him, goes up and takes a disguise. But Carl ain't having any of it. Takes a few shots away, not just from the turret, but from the Mount Shocker. Kyle takes him down. And JP does try to bring out the extraction point, but it's too little too late. There's no jungler for Liquid coming into the second turtle. Now they take down Ogwin. Liquid with a vengeance.
Oh, I was just going to say that's a great opportunity for them to take this turtle, but now that Ogwin's gone down, they're just going to wait for Carl to be back here.
Yep, here he comes. Via the flying cloud as Oheb gets popped by Marco once more.
That doesn't feel good. You know, that's Super Marco's eaten well this game, at least for that. They're still going to go ahead and contest this turtle. They don't want it to go in the hands of Carl Teasy, but he does just grab it easily. Sanford will flicker on out. Oh, disengage.
There's the glorious pathway. JP and the rest of Liquid can actually choose the fight that they're going to pick, but he gets trapped between 4 members of Falcons. How about some roast horse, everybody?
Yep. JP goes down. Right now, Team Falcons in a better position than throughout the entire of the series. Yes, it's not a major lead or anything like that, but they're sitting good. I would say even again, this pressure they've been putting in the gold lane at Super Marco now. Whoa! Goodbye, Sanford. Oh, hold on.
Real manipulation trying to punish Flap. They do get him, but I'll tell you now, that's still a good trade for Falcons.
They also get that turret, so great play on the macro sense of things here. I'm not sure if O's going to go for Oheb. If he dies here again, that's going to be crucial for TLPH. They're going to have to help Oheb get back into this game. Traction pole's used up, but it's just JP that gets grabbed into it.
See, that's the thing. It's difficult for Liquid to put Oheb in a spot where he can farm freely and safely. There's so much going for him. A chubby old crab man with a cannon for an arm. You have a Korean legit historical figure going around who can see the map. That's what's missing, I think, vision. Liquid doesn't have the same kind of vision that Falcons does.
Yeah, they don't have that vision, but they have the box. the panel mentioned. Whoa!
We just skipped it for a second, and Carl pops Marco. How?
What just happened? I did not expect Super Marco to go down just to Carl Tizzi when he was up there on that side.
I thought it was the Bane that randomly bursts people. What's going on? Flapteezy gets the glory pathway and the railroad manipulation on him. Throwing out that Mountain Shocker. Too much damage. Ogwin gets popped by Oheb. Baby cakes are clapping back. 2 for free. Make that 3 for Count and Marco, who just comes in on a cloud. That's hilarious.
What just happened, man?
Liquid Stampede.
They stampeded, started with the perfect target. It was Super Marco.
60, man.
That's just what they do. And now this third turtle. Mind you, I think throughout the series, Carl Tizzi has all the turtles in his hands, man.
He does?
I think so.
Literally. I think 6, 8, 9 in total.
9 turtles. And again, objectively, TLPH is just playing better. Even if they lose some of these turrets or some of these deaths in the early game, they're able to go ahead and find these moments where it just turns the game in their favor.
Pretty sure that's not how the Animal Kingdom works. Goats do not have a strict diet of turtles.
Hey, you heard him in the opening. What is it? The game's chasing him now.
Yep.
He's not chasing the game anymore. He's completely, he's on new, is this New Game Plus?
This is New Game Plus. Game of the Year edition.
Game of the Year edition, New Game Plus for Carl Tizzi right now.
Hey, our game did win a few awards at the Mobile Game Awards this year, so...
That's true, that's true. You're
something
right
to
about that
celebrate.
one. Oh, this
Carl
is
Tizzi and Ogwin gets caught by the Glorious Pathway. Daddy JP means business, alongside 3 other members of Liquid. Oh, they force him to go the other way. The conceal from Ogwin. This is just a matter of time.
Run,
a
Ogwin.
formality. Ogwin can't even sacrifice himself to the turret.
Well,
he's wasting their time.
He's wasting their time, and look it up top. He's bought enough time for Super Marco to go ahead and push into that.
That's an execution. Oh, but still few falls as 40 finds him. Throne of Ruin, able to slow the assault. He might go down here. Kyle Tizzi throwing out these swords and arrows and swords. Finally he falls, and in mid, Flapteezy pushing them all back.
Okay.
Some peace and quiet for a second here.
I would say that wasn't so bad for Team Falcons. Yeah, they lost a couple bodies. They were able to get the tier 2 up top. That whole thing that Ogwin started by, let me tell you something, running off on his own. Yeah, bought him enough time to go ahead and at least get a turret. Now, in the grand scheme of things, is that going to change much? Right now, TLPH is still in that driver's seat. They're able to go ahead and control this because the Lord is coming up in about 15.
It feels like it's slowing the inevitable. But if that happens one more time, if some way, somehow, Falcons shrink this 800 gold lead from Liquid and maybe take it up to their side, put it at about 2,000, 3,000, then maybe Marco can be once again that force of nature that gets them on the board.
If somehow Marco bursts one of the crucial members of TLPH.
Kyle.
Carl or Oheb?
Carl or even Sanji, maybe?
Even Sanji. He can burst
any of these cores.
Yeah. If he bursts, basically if he bursts anybody, that's a big help for Falcons into this Lord. I think they'll take their time though, because again, they were fighting into a box of Sanji. Sanji, with this whole E-pick was highlighted in the panel of being deadly. Oh, whoa!
Carl Tizzi here.
Oh!
Tango with death against 2. And now Oheb barely alive. Mount Shocker, they know how low he is. They see him. Sanford, Throne of Ruin, but it's not enough to stop Falcons from taking him down. Few falls, no trades for Liquid, and it's just a free pickoff. Liquid overextended.
Man, a whole lot was thrown there. Ogwin is on that side. I don't know if they're going to start the Lord off of that. It was only Sanford that goes down. He'll be up in 12, and remember, this is Flying Clouds, so we can join in this fight, but it looks like they're going to try to at least blitz it a little bit. Oh, no. TLPH is back for this fight. They want to wait for Sanford to be up. They drop down the pathway.
Lord is very low. Kyle Tizzi secures, and the arena goes wild. Kyle gets popped by Carl. Carl Tizzi looking to survive, and he will, but only for a second more. An amazing Sandstorm by Ogwin, plus a deadly catch by Marco. And now it's just Sanford left. 40's holding on against 3 members of Falcons. This is nigh impossible to win, but he might take down Super Marco, but he won't, as Marco spits on that thing. It's a wipeout.
It's a wipeout that Team Falcons needed, and my God, what a raging Sandstorm from Ogwin to set that thing up and capitalize on what Team Falcons did.
Falcons used Carl Tizzi's anger and vengeance and forced him to overextend, equal to the rest of Liquid overextending, and then they caught him with that ult combo.
They got him, man, and You're seeing it. This is the switch. This is the draft. And I'm talking about the gust of wind that these Team Falcons needed here. It's a step in the right direction. It's not going to win them the game just yet unless somehow they're able to get the right targets down. This Lord is making its way towards the base of TLPH. And they're going to try to hold it here. They drop down the Glorious Pathway. But where do they go? Deadliest Catch drop down too. They're going to clear out that Lord. Takes a couple of hits on the turrets, but they maintain the top and mid turret.
It's damage control mode for Liquid. As for the first time in this whole series, 3 games in, they are down 3,000 gold, and they're staring down Falcons push across all 3 lanes. I'll tell you now, Joseph, looking at a Bane on the opposite side, looking at it at 6-1 and 2, it's not a good feeling.
It's not, man.
It's scary.
Especially when he's waddling in front of you, man. And if you get to see him on a cloud, even more so is it devastating.
Crabs aren't supposed to be that high up in the sky. That's how God meant him to go.
I've been asking for this since the regular season. I wish we had a Bane cam.
Oh my God.
You know?
Dude, Sky Piercer on the Bane.
I wonder how many stacks he has. Are we able to check how many stacks the Bane has?
Minimum 4.
Minimum 4.
Minimum 4.
Dude, he's got and he just got the wings. So he's even faster now. And shielded.
A little more sustainable, as if the single click on the ale wasn't enough.
Yeah, he's a little more chunky now, I'd say. You know,
he's all tummy.
Yeah, this is, I don't know.
Oh, passive push up top 2. All right, Liquid answers back.
All right, what can TLPH do here? I mean, as much as I gotta say it's looking a little dicey for TLPH, you can't count them out. Just like we were saying that in the previous game with Team Falcons. This kind of lineup, you even saw how tanky Sanford can be on the Alice, but I think even to an extent, they just got caught in a bad team fight position. OHEB has struggled, and I think this is the sentiment here with our gold laners right now. You know, the typical heroes that we usually see, they're having a really hard time in the current meta.
Yeah, I think what you could call that whole situation where they got wiped out is a string of bad decisions.
Yeah.
And hard punishes from Falcons. That means if Liquid answers half of that equation with better decisions going into the late game, and they should be fine. They only really have to worry about Falcons' positioning, Falcons' propensity to go for that 2 ult combo, which is so devastating. Liquid got caught from out of nowhere with that. They got clocked. They got gassed immediately. So if Liquid can see that, then they should be fine. Easier said than done, obviously, because Falcons has better vision overall.
I think Ogwin's trying to do exactly what he did before. He's going to be spotted out there by Sanford, though.
Yep, stuffed out.
Are they going to just go ahead and stop them? They're going to go for this lore, though. It's for the taking.
Traction pulse, zoning out Liquid. As Sanji Falls didn't even get the use of most of that real-world manipulation. Sanford comes in, taking down Marco. A huge shutdown for the Apex Predator. He's still alive, but just barely as Kyle takes him out.
Oh,
2
no.
for 1 to trade. Ogwin wants to get to the back line, taking down OHEB. But the Filipino sniper survives. In comes Carl Tizzy. Suddenly, Falcons are so chunky, even a Lancelot can't put a dent on him.
Ooh, that could have gone way worse if OHEB went down too. But man, Sanji deleted in that fight. They lost a ton of damage on the profile here for TLPH. And for Team Falcons, they're walking in with this next Lord toward the base.
More than just damage, I think it's the utility. It's the box that Sanji provides that was so important for Falcons to find and to neutralize. Oh my God, Carl Tizzy put down 1/8 of his health. That was scary.
Yeah, he's gonna go back, heal up there, dealing with this Lord. They do have the waves cleared out though, so they'll be able to clear out the Lord. They lost another base turret. They're trying to hold on to this bottom 1. They'll post up around it, and they should be able to maintain this last base turret unless Team Falcons decides to do something, and they won't.
This is not how Stallions are meant to live. This is not their natural habitat. A closed-off space just inside your base where Falcons cordon off, where you're allowed to roam. They need free range. They need a lot of land mass. And Liquid are denied that. Falcons are up 5,000 gold. I'll tell you now, worse than the amount of gold is, again, the lack of vision and effective space to move around. That's why Ogwin is capable of finding OHEB so easily.
Yeah, like I said, this is a tough game for OHEB. You know, you can see he's got some items, but he's not going to have any stacks, or literally no stacks at all in the Sky Piercer, but also...
He owes stacks.
Yeah, and he doesn't have the defensive items he needs either to withstand that. He's literally relying on his dash and the flicker.
But that's the thing. Would you build a defensive item on a Granger in this case? Yeah, because you're still lacking damage. Is there... All right, this is rhetoric, but Is there enough damage on Carl DZ to scare Falcons? I tell you now, no.
No.
He's been puncturing through dudes for the better part of the past 5 minutes to no effect.
And that's what I'm saying, man. It's
Oh!
Hold on, Stanford, okay.
That is the Mountain Shocker and the Traction Pulse already. Okay, so Liquid standing their ground, forced out 2 ults.
They forced out 2 ults. I think if you look at this too, again, this is one of those situations where TLPH is in that position where we need those items, and by that I mean especially on Sanford and especially on JP to go ahead and tank up a lot of what's being thrown at them. But even so, if they have those items, it's also protecting OHEB. A Super Marco can appear from anywhere. So OHEB, the problem, like put yourself in OHEB's shoes. He's got to keep his head literally on a swivel, man, like 360. He's got to look for Ogwin and Super Marco. They can appear from anywhere.
He needs more than a third eye. He needs a 4th, a 5th, a 6th.
Yeah.
There's so many things coming at him, and he's the only real reliable source of damage, because Carl DZ has to think of the retribution too. See, a lot of these wipeouts, they happen pre or post Lord, because they come from that moment, that singular need.
I mean, if you really think about it too, Leo, like even if Sanji, if he sets up the RWM, he's like a sitting target. Like, he might be, like, he's not getting the full use out of his RWM in a lot of these fights.
Not in the last Lord. Mountain Shocker coming in. Kyle DZ sees all of them.
Oh, look at Ogwin
posting up. Oh, I don't know if OHEB knows.
Did they get information here? Sanji and OHEB both there. Ogwin going for the back.
Glorious Pathway dropped in. Kyle DZ secures and look at the back. Ogwin totally misses as OHEB dashes on out. Sanford taken out.
Oh, they survive. Oh!
And in comes Marco. Carl DZ, OHEB and JP retreat
Marco!
for the price of the Lord. This is not worth it.
Super Marco's waited all series for this, and he finally gets it on the Bane. They'll clear out the Lord, and they're ready to go for Carl TZ tries to delay it.
And it's just delaying the inevitable as Team Falcons PH get on the board, denying the sweep 2-1.
Team Falcons needed a flight, and they got it here in Game 3. What a game, and good thing we're not going to a sweep. Let's go over to the panel instead.
I asked for more damage from Falcons, and they gave Khalid swords, full damage on the Khalid, a Bane in the gold lane. I didn't expect this to happen.
Now this is the Falcons we expected. Says not over. Definitely not yet. They're now playing with claws, some swag. Even in the items, we saw it just a little bit ago. You know, Renmar, there were some signs of keys to victory that Team Falcons still weren't able to do. DLPH still got turtles, but what in the world happened here? Why is it close all of a sudden?
Bane gold lane, man. The inevitable thing about Bane. Holy Crystal, and then he goes for Sky Piercer, second item. Then he gets the Lightning Truncheon, then Blood Wings. It's fantastic itemization from Super Marco. People would probably say that Ogwin's build, bro, kinda sus. What the hell's the Khalid doing building swords? But what is Khalid's main weapon? A sword.
Yeah.
And then suddenly, it was that Khalid that suddenly broke every team fighting formation that is built around the Eve. Super Marco gets the MVP, and understandably so. This Bane popped off at the right time. Similar to how that Bane belly's popping out of his shirt. Super Marco was able to do that at the exact right time. Although he wouldn't always flicker and then throw the sharks perfectly with a deadly catch. He would find the right catch at the right time.
Man, I apologize because I immediately looked at my belly. If it was the same as Bane's, I lagged out with that joke.
And
but
then you laughed when you looked at me.
Yeah, no, I
got you there. I got you there, bro.
I went because I laughed because I wanted to respond with what you said because I was like, was that me?
Bro, you can't cap no more. You can't cap. I got you.
Come on, man. I can cap, but Super Marco did not. That's for sure. In this game number 3, they definitely put up a solid fight where there were times that Team Liquid Philippines has managed to get ways or at least the steps for them to get into victory by getting those turtles, getting maximum objectives. And even though Team Falcons were getting some kills, DLPH at this point in this part of the clip, they were still leading by 700 gold, but that was changed by Team Falcons in one major lineup. They heavily focused
on playing fire with fire, and I think that is what they need. That is exactly what Ogwen did, and that placed the momentum so much for Team Falcons to handle.
Falcons just showed up with more damage. They could not get the burst mage onto Few, so they said, let's put damage onto our roamer.
Right.
Ogwen essentially turned into an EXP laner at this point, man. Flapteezy was the actual roamer of the composition based on their positionings every team fight.
Right.
While Ogwen was the one looking for ganks. Good avoidance there by Oheb. But you see how much damage Ogwen can dish out. Marco able to flicker just in time to hawk 2 on that thing.
There's your roamer.
Taking out Oheb, double kill, make that triple. Marco chaining the kills.
That was just an insane amount of layers coming in from Team Falcons to keep themselves alive in this playoff run. You're looking at a 19-10 kill score. Quite an eventful game number 3 here. Based on what we were telling you guys a while ago, the only change except for those turtles were a lot of the invades coming in from Team Falcons. And I have to say, there were some mistakes coming in from Oheb during the early portions of our game that really gave Super Marco the edge in terms of the gold scaling.
Yeah, for Team Liquid Philippines, you saw that it looks like they just weren't ready with the sheer damage output that could come out of Falcons.
Right.
Again, with the itemization, once the items come up, we really have to point out what they've done here, because there's also another crucial item. A very important part of a Kimmy build in this era, Demon Hunter Sword, that would melt any frontliner that's going to be standing in front of his way. Tip for the Kimmies out there in your RGs, pick up this item. Even if you only have like one super tanky guy in the opposing team, even if it's an Alex with the Radiant Armor, Blade Armor, you don't really care. It's gonna hurt, yes, but you do need that DHS to come out.
Right.
Deal as much damage as you can, and don't be the only main damage dealer. Falcons again knew that they are lacking burst. So then Super Marco comes out with the bait. Sky Piercer second item. Once that Divine Glaives in, bro, as long as Marco's alive and even he has just a bit of health,